talking about our fall celebration at Carillon Historical Park, which started off months ago as a Memorial Day concert that we were all working on. And then, of course, the virus made that concert impossible to hold. And then there was a brief period of time when we thought maybe it would be a concert over Labor Day weekend. And then that didn't really seem possible. And here we are now with a streamed concert created on location at Carillon Historical Park, trying to sort of fill the same performance space in our lives, except instead of being towards the end of a season, it's now really the beginning of a season.
The concert is always a great event, and it people strewn out over the green there next to Culp's Cafe, and watching the orchestra down at the other end of the green there, and that's all great. But I think what we have an opportunity this time is to see some of the other venues of the park, the transportation center, the ballroom, various things that people may see in a passing sort of way, but have never thought of them as performance venues. The selection that Maya Vansich, our artist in residence from Dayton Opera, will be doing will be on the back end of one of the railroad cars in the transportation center. So unlikely performance venues will be interesting, I think, making our celebration at Carillon Park really a celebration.
Unfortunately, even though the dancers can do a little bit of practice at home, it's just not the same as being in shape and being able to prepare something to perform. It takes at least 3 to 4 weeks to get into that mode, and unfortunately, we just don't have the time to do it, to do it just for this one performance. But we sure do miss being at the Carillon, I know. It's just such a beautiful place. So we will be starting back in November, late November, knock on wood. And so what we have contributed is some sections of the ballet that we did. I can't remember if it was 17 or 16 of The Great Gatsby. So excited to look at that again and to capture some of that enthusiasm and put it together with the other art forms for our Carillon production. The score is an original score, and it was danced to by Washington Ballet. Septime Weber was the original person that worked with Billy Novick and the Syncopators. And Sacramento Ballet was having some difficulties with their programming and budgeting. And Ron Cunningham, who's the artistic director of Sacramento Ballet, knew Septime and had asked him if he could use the music, but not his choreography, that he would choreograph his own. So when I was looking for Gatsby's, those were the two that I had to choose from. And I actually had chosen Ron's. I love Septime's. It was too big for our company because Washington Ballet has many more dancers than we do. And two, I felt like we had done so many of Septime's works that I wanted to get a different voice. Ron did an excellent job doing it in a linear way, the way the book is set out. And I think that's what makes it very easy to follow. He added what I thought was very clever was a narrator. And so between each section, the narrator would come out and, even recite some of the book or what was going to happen or what had happened. So I think that any way that you can make it easier for the audience to understand something as complex as that, the better. And he has all of the characters in there. It's a pretty literal demonstration of the book. And I think the dancers did a great job with all of the characters. I don't know if they had read it in school or if they reread it when they did it, but I thought that the characters really came out.
The music for the ballet really captures the spirit of the time. It's the jazz-inflected music, and it feels just absolutely perfect for the dance. And I think maybe that's one of the things that makes it so successful, because in a way that the music kind of recreates an emotional and also chronological frame for us in some way. You hear that music and you flash back to that era, and it really adds to the experience and made it a really very effective theatrical experience. And I think it'll translate to the screen in a streaming way very nicely.
It seems like to me that it aligns so well with Carillon Park too. I
Yeah.
mean, the period and all is just it's very evocative of the whole feeling that you have when you go to Carillon Park.
Yes. Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, absolutely.
For me, one of the fun things was um, doing an early site visit out to the park. I mean, I've been to the park many times, both as a performer and as a guest. My wife and I are longtime members of Dayton history. But it was really fun to be going around with someone from the staff, with Brady and also one of his people, and sort of get a different look. And also, I got to see some of the new exhibits that have opened since the last time I had been around at the park. And it really is, it's a wonderful sort of treasure chest of Dayton stuff. Everything from the old bicycles and the cash registers to that room that I'd never seen of all the famous Daytonians. Jonathan Winters and Dave Chappelle's on the wall, and all the people and Phil Donahue, and all the people who've put Dayton on the map in show business and popular culture. It's just a fun way to see the influence that our community has had nationally and also internationally. It's a fun place to visit, and I hope some of our viewers in the stream will be reminded of what a cool place Carillon Historical Park is, and go check it out, because even in the time of the pandemic, it's open, and they're controlling how many people are there, and it's very easy to be at the park and to be at a safe distance from other people. And of course, so much of it involves walking outdoors from exhibit to exhibit. You can look up and maybe see the eagles if you're lucky. So it's a great opportunity.
Neil, what was it like to get back to conducting after such a long time?
I tell you, it was amazing. As we're recording this, it was just last night that we did our performance for the Think TV cameras, and it was wonderful to be back with musicians. I mean, not the full orchestra. I had 8 brass players for one piece and 14 string players for another. But just to hear the live music again it just felt so wonderful, and I know everybody was so happy to be there and to be playing together. And the ballroom at Carillon Park is one of the newest features there. In fact, the very first time I walked into that space, which is it's a very big sort of banquet hall, but with 2 stories and a balcony all around it and chandeliers and things, and very reverberant acoustics. And I just sort of clapped my hands a couple of times and listened to this 4, 5, 6 second reverberation time, and it was like, we have to play some Gabriele brass music in here, because it's not quite St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, but it's almost the same acoustics, and the brass sounded just unbelievable in that space, and the Barber Adagio for strings with the strings was also just incredibly beautiful. But it was just so nice to be making live music again. I'm sure, Karen, for you, it'll be the same thing in November, the first time you walk into the studio with the dancers. You'll probably need lots of tissues that morning, I would imagine.
My event such are this past season's artist in residence soprano is singing two selections for this celebration. One we of course had to get some opera in there. You know, it would not be, we would not be well represented if we didn't have a piece from the operatic repertoire, and a favorite one at that, from Puccini's Gianni Schicchi, O mio babbino caro, which is, everyone loves that wonderful tune. And the other part that's very important about the Carillon Park, that annual concert, is the Americana part of it. And so we decided to use America the Beautiful, which is a bit of Americana that everyone loves so much. And we thought, we were scouting around for an appropriate arrangement to do that. And one of the members of the orchestra made a suggestion of a colleague of hers, David Kempers, that who might, she said, she thought he might be willing to do the arrangement, and because he was sort of not so busy right now with in the midst of the pandemic, he jumped on the opportunity and has arranged a really beautiful arrangement for the 5-string players of that great American classic. So those are the two things that Maya will be performing, as I said, on the back platform of one of the railroad cars in the transportation center. So a unique and wonderful performance.
It's interesting when I have this mental picture of Maya on a railroad car. I mean, I don't know if this really happened, but I bet back in the day, you know, like when Jenny Lind was touring the country, I imagine there probably were sort of whistle-stop concerts along the way. You know, maybe she couldn't stop in the little town to play, but maybe, you know, the train stopped and people knew she was there. And I just, whether it happened or not in reality, I have in my imagination this idea of Jenny Lind giving an impromptu performance at the Dayton Depot on her way from Cleveland to Cincinnati.
It's a good story, and we're sticking to it. So, I can imagine her or any of the well-known singers who traversed our country by rail, and who would pull into a town and come out onto the platform of the car to greet their public, and undoubtedly they were crying for some performance, and I'm sure it happened, and we'll be sort of recreating that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the unknown things about this whole experience, obviously, the virus has changed entirely, at least for now, the way we get music and dance to our audience. But part of me wonders whether, having done this, we might even continue to do it even when we don't have to. And, you know, might make us thinking of, you know, what would it be like, you know, to create a dance piece that wasn't performed on the stage, but was performed in a train car or some other place, or you know, in the old courthouse downtown, and to sort of think of creating art for our audience that takes them to other places besides the traditional performance. I mean, you know, it's a terrible experience to be going through, but part of me thinks we might learn some interesting things that could affect the way we present our art to people in the future.
Right. Absolutely.